Hello.
And welcome. All right. Welcome to another day of productivity where we will get all of the things done. Woo! Personally, I have some dishes to get done, and then my plan is to edit my devotional and get it done as quickly as possible. I want this thing done so I can finally publish it. It's been driving me crazy that it's not done yet, but I'm getting so close. Oh, hello, Polyvoony.
Hello.
So my goal is to get through 10 days. I've finished editing the first 10 days, and there's 30 days total, so that would put me 2/3 of the way done. And then I would potentially finish up next Monday if I work at the same rate. And then after that, I'm just gonna have some people look at it and tell me what they think, and then I'll be able to publish it. Although I also make a cover and everything. And Heidi, what about you?
Well, top project right now is writing. I've got some writing to work on, and in that, it's like all kinds of writing from like my current writing project to like writing email responses to people that are waiting on me for email responses. um, and what was the other one? Oh, yeah, I was going to do some journaling as well. So those are my three writing things. So all of the writing things are up there. I got a little bit of cleaning and finally a little bit of reading if I get that far. So,
Hello, Jonathan.
hello as well.
Welcome. This is like the most exciting the chat's been in like months.
Everyone is ready to go, ready to be productive.
Yeah. All right. Shall I get a sprint ready?
All right.
What are our current works in progress? I'm currently just working on the devotional. I've got plenty of stuff on the back burner, but I'm not even really thinking about it right now. But eventually, once I finish, then I'll have the ability to decide if I want to work on something else.
I have a fan fiction that I was finishing up for some people who have been waiting on me for a few weeks, month maybe at this point. And hopefully, once I finally get to the phase where I'm caught up on that, I can do some other fun writing. I am writing up a little memory journal of memories with my cat and trying to record all the things so the memories do not fade for my little bear. And so that's one of the projects. And just like some scripture journaling as well. Oh yeah, so what's the fanfic of? I am really love a lot of different shows, but really one of my top favorite shows right now is To Be Hero X. So it is on that one. It's a superhero show, but kind of offbeat style. It doesn't stay with the same characters throughout. It's more of like an anthology style, so you get to know a lot of characters. And writing this like massive fan fiction where they all interact with one another. There is some of that in the show, but a lot of it is waiting for season 2, and I can't wait for season 2. So I'm just like, that's what I think should happen. So
Right.
fun with that.
Very nice. I have always loved the idea of writing fanfic, but I don't think I can do it. I'm so like strict and rigid in my head that if I write something that I feel like, oh wait, no, that wouldn't actually happen. I would just talk myself out of every possible plot.
That's a hard one. Yeah, I finished one of that was the project I was working on last week, was a smaller scale fan fiction before I decided I wanted to write the large one. I finished that one the other week and I was second guessing my ending throughout. I kept changing what the ending was as I was writing it. It was just very stressful to the point I was finally like, you know what? It does not matter what people think of this. If they hate it, they can just not read it anymore.
That is true. All right. Let us. I wish I could reorder. Let me see if I can. My layouts here. What is this? Ooh, that is a new feature. Got it. Cancel. New layout. Manage layouts. I'm seeing if I could like. I don't want cropped layout. I don't really want that one. Don't really need that one. Okay, let's see if that makes things better. Haha!
Yay!
So I could choose between different layouts, but the one that I want is like way down the list, and so I can't just see it straight off. I have to like, so I had to disable a few that I don't use, and now it's just right there where I need it. All right, so let's get ready for our first sprint. Set up my banner in case anybody joins us. Oop, and immediately turn it back off. Let us know in the chat what you guys are going to be working on during sprints today. My first sprint is going to be kitchen cleaning. My goal is to completely finish the kitchen, but that doesn't usually happen in my first sprint, so we will see. And what about you? Should we try to roll or?
I think I am going to go with writing for this first one. If I come to a really good pausing place, I'm going to work a little bit on cleaning because last time I never got around to my cleaning. I spent too much time with writing. So I'm going to punctuate the writing with a little bit of cleaning here and there.
All right. Let's get ready to sprint then in 3, 2, 1, and go. And time is up.
All right. Awesome.
How did you do?
Made a lot of progress. Made it through some writing, through some stack of emails. Yeah, it feels like an immeasurable quantity still hangs over me, but there.
Yeah. I made it through like most of the kitchen, still a bit left, so I will have to do another sprint of kitchen cleaning, unfortunately.
Yeah, I need to do a little bit of bathroom cleaning, so I have a feeling I won't get there unless I do that for my next sprint. So next sprint I'm going to approach differently and I will start with cleaning. And if I finish the couple of things I had on my cleaning list, then I'll circle back to writing.
Oh, okay. Also, while I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'm also listening to my audiobook, which is the second book in Sisters of the Salt series, I believe it's called.
Nice.
It's been a pretty good book so far. Still kind of near the beginning, so
Okay.
hard to say too much about it yet, but it does definitely seems very interesting.
Cool.
All right. Well, do we just start another sprint?
Well, we got the motivation, haven't we?
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Let's oops, let me put my timer back on the screen because that's kind of important.
Check in on my cat. She's asleep.
Ah, sleepy kitty. All right. We will go ahead and start another sprint.
All right.
3, 2, 1. All right, time is up.
A cat has claimed my chair in my absence.
Oh no. Whatever will you do?
It's a beautiful cat, though, so she gets to keep it.
Okay.
Mm.
Hi, kitty.
Say hi, baby. Say hi, baby girl.
All right, I managed to pretty much finish the kitchen.
Awesome. Yeah, I got a lot.
Finished coding. Did you end up finishing all the cleaning you were trying to get done?
Part of it. Some of it is like something needs to soak. So we're gonna take a
Mm.
little while over that, but otherwise doing good.
Cool. Trying to think of other things to talk about before just jumping into another sprint.
You sound motivated to me.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it, or you're just like, I gotta get it over with?
It's kind of more just I'm dreading actually sitting down to work, but I'm excited to have it be done.
Yeah.
I feel like that's true of most projects that I do.
Yeah, I started these sprints realizing just like how many side tasks each can balloon into. It's
Yeah.
pretty scary at times.
Yeah. I don't know what I was gonna say. I forgot.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah. Ugh. Man, I feel like it's already been a long week and it's only Monday.
Oh, yeah. There are so many, I don't know, so many Monday moments today when I went to the vet. I could tell they were having a Monday over there. They were going through the whole list of different things, which granted was a lot of stuff to like look into and check and stuff. And they kept forgetting things, and I was about to drive away before they microchipped my cat. I was like, wait, this was one of the very first reasons that I was coming here today. And so I went back in and they're like, what? We didn't do it. And apparently they have a new person on staff that they're training, and she kind of had an attitude. She was just like,
Hmm.
not my problem, not my responsibility. Oh, the vet is supposed to do the notes, not me. And like, I think she's like the vet tech. So, like, technically she was supposed to
Yeah.
help the vet. She just had an attitude. Like, for a new person there, you should be like, oh, how can I help? What should I do next? But no, not this lady. So
Fortunate.
she really had an attitude. It was kind of she in front of the receptionist, kind of this kind of snarkiness that oh, it's not my fault they didn't get those notes. Yes, yes, it is your fault, lady. I was just sitting there like, oh, and she kind of gave the receptionist some snark over like misspelling my cat's name, which, like, granted, it's not an easy name to spell. It's like it's an unusual spelling of the name Brie, because unless you know it's a cheese, you don't know how to spell it. So it's just
Right.
like, man, like this lady just chill.
Yeah. Hmm.
Either too little coffee or
Yeah.
too little people skills or both.
Yeah, both. That's always unfortunate. 'Cause I feel like I'd be stressed enough as it is going in, and since I have to deal with somebody unpleasant is unfortunate.
But really, seriously, like, for the love of all that is good, she needs to get herself together before something like really serious comes through. Because mine was fairly like routine,
Yeah.
but like, what if someone's pet is literally dying? Like, it's time to like say goodbye, euthanize a pet. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
get that birth under control before people show up in like critical situations. So, eeh, I hope like today was a learning experience for her before like she makes a blunder on something really big. Or like
Yeah.
frankly, if I was her
Maybe she
employer,
was
I
just
don't know, like at what point is it beyond a warning?
like, maybe she was just having a really bad day, but
Yeah. I try to look
yeah.
at it that way when somebody's rude is like, well, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe the coffee pot didn't work this morning, like who knows. But
Mhm.
this one kind of concerned me because like major things were getting missed. Like I was seriously undercharged for the work performed at first, which I mean like I'm the type of person that if I'm undercharged for something, I know I'm going to go back and pay anyway, even if it like really hurts to pay a little bit more, like obviously.
Yeah.
But so they didn't have to worry about me as a customer being like, ha ha ha, cheap bill today. But
Right.
I didn't even notice. I was going to drive away because like I wasn't super paying attention when I paid like that everything was on the receipt. I was just like, oh, okay, a little cheaper than expected. And then I got to the car and I started thinking about it. I was like, did they do everything though?
Yeah. Hmm. All right. Well, I guess we could start another sprint,
All right.
and I'll actually get some writing done.
Cool.
Slash, editing. I mean, there's some writing involved, but
Yeah. That's kind of where it's more like editing stuff rather than actually writing stuff at this point. But likewise, it's part of the process. It's where I am right now.
my goal, let's see, for this sprint, I would love to get through day 13, but we'll see how much I actually get done.
Wonderful.
All right, get my document ready. So you're going to be writing this sprint, you said?
That's my plan. Yeah. If I get to a good stopping point, I might do a quick break for reading, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see for me as well, because it's like I really want to get 10 days done today, but also I'm so tired and I want to do something fun. So we'll see how far through I make it. And I've got through to a fun spot in my audiobook. So we'll see if what wins out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, and start. All right, time is up.
All right.
How did we do?
Pretty good. Yeah, made a lot of progress.
Nice. I made a lot more progress than I thought I was going to.
Nice.
I made it to day 26.
Whoa, nice job.
Yeah, I finally made it to the point. Ugh, allergy ice. I finally made it to the point where my writing style had improved. So making it through the days was just a breeze. I was just like, change wording here or there, but I could just kind of go. Whereas before, I was having to like rewrite full sections because I'm like, okay, that just sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Welcome, Laura Nettles. Thank you for joining us. In a conundrum, should I write fan fiction, finish writing an original story, beta read for a friend, or read a book that just arrived? Now, that is a very good question. And if you'd like, we can assign numbers and I can roll the dice.
Wow, yeah, they all look like great options.
I know. They all sound fun. How close is your original story to being finished? Is the question. Is that something that you're putting off with the other ones? Or is that something that you'll feel freer to do the other things when that's finished? Because that's what would be the problem for me, is because I never finish projects and I just want to do other things instead of finish the project.
Yeah, that's so true. There's a sense of relief in being able to finish one or two projects that, even if they're easy things, and then clear you up to work on a bigger project. But on the flip side, I can see a case for like if you're avoiding something for a while, you may never get to it. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess it's like that's why it depends on how close to being finished it is. Because if it's almost there and you've just got to slog through that last little bit, then it's probably a good idea to get it out of the way. But if there's plenty still to do, then it's, maybe pace yourself.
yeah.
Ah! Oh no! You're having to work on your day off. No worries.
Oh. Yeah, that's tough.
Ooh. Need to write the climax. Well, what do you feel most drawn to do? The beta reading is also a novella. Have you started the beta reading yet? And is it a genre that you usually prefer to read? Like, is it something that excites you to read? Oh, the new book is also a novella. You've just got novellas all over the place.
Yeah.
I've always thought about like writing a novella because most of my writing experience has been through NaNoWriMo and trying to get to 50,000 words, which granted is a very short novel length and honestly getting close to novella, but I always struggle with getting that word count. So it's definitely a possibility that I could be better suited to writing novellas, but I don't really read a lot of novellas, so my story in my mind always fits a novel length, but then when I go to write it, I just don't write enough detail or something, because then it's not long enough.
I wonder how common would a series of novellas be? I almost feel like that would be more manageable. I don't know if that's much of a thing. I've certainly never read one myself, but a series can novellas.
I think I see a pattern. Yes. Not started the beta reading, but you do like the genre. Okay. Yeah, 'cause I think the only novella that I've ever read has been, like, a prequel novella or, like, a sequel novella to I'd been reading, like, a book series, and then at the end, it's like, oh, they wanted to wrap up a story with a side character or something like that, and so there's a novella about that. And that's, like, the only time I've ever really read novellas were in part of a series of novels. So, I I I should think about, finding some more novellas and dip my toes more into that and seeing if, like, the pacing and the structure is something that I feel like I could do easily enough.
Yeah.
The book
Ooh,
that arrived is about a plague doctor and a mermaid. I see.
wow. That's like a
Sounds
fascinating
like
read.
you've got a lot of very interesting options.
Mhm.
If you would like, some randomness thrown into your evening, then you could assign numbers, and I could roll to decide your fate. But chances are I'll roll a number, and then you'll know which one you actually wanted to do.
That's often how it happens. It's like, "Oh, I wish I
Yes.
this one."
It's like, "I wanted the other one." You just reread what I had from my original story so it's fresh in your mind. Oh, that might be a good time to do that then, because
Hmm.
I mean, I'm partial to it's a six-sided die, I just have, like, a normal six-sided one. But if you wanna do an option more than one option more than a different one, you can assign it 2 numbers.
Ha, I got my chair back.
Ah, yes.
Eat. So I was like,
Yay for chair liberation.
my knees are about given out, but worth it. Things that we do for our pets.
Oh, yes. Mm.
And the
So
idea of a novella is becoming more and more appealing. The more I read up when I was looking at it, I was like, ooh, it's shorter, and like I could write two in NaNoWriMo if I aim on the shorter end. I might
Yeah.
do this
I
novella series idea.
mhm. I do think that, um, were I not so I'm trying to think of the exact words here. Oh, we've got some numbers here. So while I think of words, we will decide on Laura's fate.
Yay.
So number 1 is fan fiction, number 2 is beta read, number 3 is read, number 4 is write HBS. Okay. Number 5 is work on Drabbles, 6 is clean my room. Okay. We have rolled a 5.
Awesome.
All right. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Which funny because it was going to be about the fact that I have ADHD. um, but I do think that that has maybe contributed to my ability to finish projects. Um, 100 word stories. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll save this because it's kind of a rant. I'll save it for our next break, and
Okay.
we'll go ahead and get another sprint going here. Another 25 minutes. And we will go ahead and begin in 3, 2, 1. And time is up.
All right. How do you feel this one went?
I'm feeling pretty good because I finished the entire thing like halfway through.
Yay! That's awesome.
Got to go get myself some ice cream.
Oh, I like it. I like that as a reward.
Yes.
I suppose one could say that I already had my reward before I got into it. I brought some chocolate with me and was snacking on that in the very first round. So
Ah, yes.
that is my motivational chocolate.
Oh, yes. It's a emotional support.
Yeah, there we
chocolate.
go. Everyone needs a good emotional support chocolate now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ice cream has sounded kind of tempting, but I will hold off because I was so full earlier that I was like, oh, don't want to feel bad.
Also got myself some matcha. My husband made us both some.
That's cool.
Spotted people got sucked into. I hate when that happens.
I feel that. Yeah. I will say I did get distracted for a little bit and scroll as well. I was going through I was going through my Facebook notifications or something. I don't even know how these things start, but I found the coolest idea how to make cat jello. It was a suggestion for not out of cats, but like for cats. I should clarify. Like, I love cats.
Wow.
You would never hear me suggesting how to make jello out of cats. So let me clarify. It was the idea was, you know how when people make bone broth, they'll boil the bones and they'll have a lot of leftovers afterwards, and because there's still meat on the bones when they make it. So there's some leftover meat that this person had, and they took that and they poured a little bit of the bone broth that it yielded, put it all in a food processor, blended it up, poured it into like different shaped molds, and then put it in the refrigerator overnight. And it was like super popular with her cats. So now I really want to try it.
Okay.
But not tonight. That's another day. It's probably.
I'm enjoying my winter ice cream.
You've earned it.
I got cookie dough flavor, and then put some like PB Fit like peanut butter powder on it.
Ooh.
And then some chocolate chips.
Nice.
So it's all kinds of good.
That sounds good. I'm going to get myself some tea at some point. I'm deciding when.
Might I recommend matcha? It's hitting the spot right now.
I got some downstairs. I need to make it.
It's so good. Hopefully it doesn't keep me up all night, but it sounded so good, and I was not gonna not have matcha. That'd be dumb. Ah, yes.
Yeah, all the comments of the many things that you have to do. I relate so much. The list is endless. I just
always
need
so much to do.
I need like 2 days in one every once in a while, just a freebie of a wonderful day that is like twice as long, but no increased tiredness as I go through the day. Like just feeling tired at the normal hour, but just like an invisible 24 hours that gets inserted into the middle of the day. I can just do whatever I want, knock out all of the tasks, have fun, go through all the like fun tasks that have been on the list. And I need something like this. I've needed like an extra day or a secret week once a month that nobody else knows about, so they can't bother me with other requests.
I've always said like there needs to be a weekend day that's not reserved for other things.
Yes.
Because like we've got Saturday and Sunday obviously we're going to church and then getting all of our housework done on those 2 days. So
Mhm.
there's no free time. It's
Yeah,
just
awesome.
getting all of the things done. So it's like I need an extra weekend day in between Saturday and Sunday to just chill.
At this point, it should probably just be like I don't know. I feel like if it just became a standard thing to like not have regular responsibilities on a Friday, and a Friday is just like for productivity, or a Monday, like somewhere that's close-ish to the weekend, because I feel like if it was isolated in the middle of the week, it would just become like responsible things. But like
I
if
mean,
it was,
honestly, if we had a 4-day work week like other countries do successfully,
yeah,
like then we could just have a weekday that is for getting all our stuff done.
yeah. I don't know how they've accomplished that, what other cuts they've had to make, if it's like they work extremely hard on the 4 days, or I haven't done enough research to know, but
They just pay a livable wage for they don't have to work 40 hours to be considered full time.
which countries are these?
I can't remember. I have to look it up.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking as well, and it's like no country has adopted a mandatory
Man,
4-day work week, but a lot of them strongly encourage it.
Iceland, United Arab Emirates. It's a 4.5 day.
Oh, interesting.
Japan actively promotes that. And
This is
of
Philippines.
course, this doesn't say whether their days are longer or not. I remember the ones that I was reading about were more like the day was still the same length. They weren't
Okay.
having to squeeze 40 hours into those 4 days, but some of those countries might be full 40 hours.
Like the report here is saying the Philippines, for instance, have instituted a temporary 4-day compressed work week before. Not all the time, not an ongoing thing, but that was an instance where they just compressed all of their work into
Yeah.
4 days. So
But
yeah,
that's
that's
something that I feel like if more places gave that as an option here, probably people would go for it, even though it's still the same amount of hours. It's like just having a free day. Because by
yeah,
the time you're getting up in the morning to go to work and going to work and then working and then coming home from work, it's like you've got so little time in the morning and in the evening that it's like, why not just make it a couple hours longer
yeah.
um,
Especially if you
versus
work,
having an entire free day?
yeah. I would say if you work from home, it's easier to pull off to cram in a few extra hours. If you have a long commute, it could be hard, especially if you're outside of regular commuting hours, like the buses don't run at certain times if you're depending on the bus, or it's a strange time of day for other important things. Of course, if you get like a weekday off, you can account for it. But like I noticed, there's some places that already only open 8 to 5, but they'll extend hours 1 or 2 days a week, so people that are in the normal business schedule can still come like to the bank or come to the dentist or whatever.
They really need to figure that out with the post office.
Yeah, totally. I am a huge fan of their 24-hour self-service thing. Like I figured that thing out so fast because I was never available during the hours that the post office was actually running. So after a little bit of trial and error and frustration, purchasing a stamp or two I didn't need, I figured out their self-service system, and now it works like a well-oiled engine. And it's the only thing I ever really do with the post office because it's just really hard to get there in the day. But, yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I'm really glad they set that up.
Yeah. Must be on the other coast from us.
Ah.
Because it is after 10 here. I do these sprints late night because I have a toddler and Monday evening is the one chance I have to get things done.
Oh.
Scheduled in. I would love in an ideal world to not have to have a job anymore, and that somehow miraculously, whether, I get something published and it makes enough money to replace my income or whatever. It would be so nice to just spend the day getting things done without stress, and then also having free time to write and get projects done, which could then bring in more passive income.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it starts to pay for itself, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. I don't know if this is like your kind of a thing because I know you used to do some sewing and other craft like projects, but there was a point that my sewing business was ramping up enough that I could have made it fairly viable full time business. It wouldn't have been like the most stable income type thing, but like it could have pulled in enough when averaged out over the various months. Like there would be busy months like prom season, wedding season, like those are the busiest months for sewing. Sometimes you see an increase around New Year's because people need something for a New Year's party. But it really just depends. But I've noticed there's busy seasons, but if you plan it well, it could be a thing. It's just I've never been able to get it off the ground and make it like a really, really profitable business because I always have my other like main work. And it's like you get to a point where you eventually have to decide, okay, am I going to break with this and then make room for that? And of course, I actually really love my full-time job, so it's like not saying goodbye to that. So sewing has
Mhm.
always taken second place, but I've always kind of had in the back of my mind, like, economy gets tough or whatever. Um, know how to sew, not everyone does anymore, so totally make a business out of that.
See, I like the idea of doing that, but I know how sore I get when I sew something for myself, and I know how I sew in quick bursts of I want this costume for Ren Fair, so I'm going to sew furiously for a week and pretty much disable myself, and
Oh,
then also not want to sew any more after that.
aw, yeah.
So I go through uh phases of wanting to sew. So I feel like
That's fair.
if I were to try and do a sewing business, it would be not the best idea. And also I'd be competing with you, which I would not want to be doing.
Well, you're cool if you want to do that because my full-time job takes the majority of my focus, and it's just on and off sewing stuff. But yeah, I get that. There's one or two others I know that sew that I'm friends with. I'm like, I hope I'm not like competing too much, but I try not to overthink it. It's just like if someone comes to me first, great, but I don't advertise to the same pool of people. I just
Yeah, it's like, hey,
advertise
can
to
I sew
whoever.
something?
I don't show up on their doorstep and be like, "Can I solve something for you?"
Have you ever wanted a thing sewn? Well, you're in luck.
That's such an awkward thing to be a solicitor for. To show up and ring people's doorbells and it's just like needles, like sewing needles. It's such an awkward thing to show up with.
Want to buy a garment? uh, all right. Let's see. Yay, getting things done.
Yeah.
Wrote 6 things on your to-do list for tonight. Wait, 8 things. Oh boy.
Struggle.
Unfortunately, we are only going to be streaming until probably around 11-ish, depending on when our last sprint wraps up. So that would be 8 o'clock your time. But we'll go ahead and get a sprint started here, and we can get you through at least part of your list. So let's pull up the timer. I am gonna take it easy and listen to my audiobook and sip on some matcha and revel in my success of having finished a thing.
I finished like one to two ish of my writing because I'm very hesitant to put a complete on the responding to emails, because by responding to emails I asked more questions that would result in more responses that I have to respond. So I don't know if I
Gotcha.
consider that one done or not, but I'm effectually done
See,
with all the writing I need to do.
see what you need to do is start a new to-do list that you don't have to worry about yet, but it's there waiting.
Yeah,
And put it on there again, but then cross it off this one.
yeah. That way you feel successful today and motivated
And
tomorrow.
yes, exactly. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Time is up.
Hey, that was pretty good. I did everything I wanted to accomplish on that.
Nice. I listened to my book, which was all I wanted to accomplish. So.
Hey. Still some more things that, always some more on the list, but I feel like everything that I needed to do today was finished today. So,
That's good. I got more than I planned on getting done today. So,
hey.
I was thinking I was going to be working on this into next week, but luckily it went so much faster than I expected. Now I have to see how long it will take to get my feedback. I sent a message to your sister to see if she'd read through.
Ooh, fantastic.
Because, yeah, when we were meeting for your birthday, she said she wanted to read it. And I said, well, that's great, because I need someone to read it.
Yay! Also, I accidentally renewed my Canva premium subscription. So if we need some design things, I got it. I looked it up. Unless it's specifically labeled for non-commercial, you're good to use stuff for commercial, as long as you don't like repackage a stock photo and sell it as its own item or something.
Welcome. You enjoyed literature, like creating and writing tales and stories? Yes. That is what we do here. Currently, I'm writing have written a like a religious devotional, but I do normally write in like the fantasy young adult sort of adventure-y kind of realm.
Oh, yeah. And same, I've written and self-published children's books, but I'm trying to branch out a little bit into the young adult genre. I've gotten stuck on editing several NaNoWriMo drafts, but I do have 2 or 3 complete drafts from that.
I have been missing writing stories, but until I get this project done, I have disallowed myself because I need to finish a project before I start a new one.
It's pretty cool. I have a thought for a nonfiction writing to do sometime. A lot of my writing lately has been fiction, or I've dabbled in fan fiction a lot more lately, just because to get myself writing again, because it's been so long since I sat down and wrote. But yeah.
What's your process? Well, my process changes every time I write something, depending on what it is that I'm writing and my mood. I used to have you can see on my channel there's some videos that I made years ago about my like outlining process and how I structure my stories and what order I do things in, from, picking my main plot points and then structuring them over time, and then how I break that into chapters and then into scenes. But that kind of isn't how I normally do it. Like, that's how my ideal self writes and like comes up with a story and goes about finishing it. But in real life, I just kind of frantically think, oh, here's an idea, and then what sounds like an interesting scene to write right now, and then I write that, and then I get stuck and then forget about the story for 4 months or more. Dog washed, dishes done, laundry put away. Fantastic.
Yeah, great job. That's a lot.
We are
I'm with,
talking about our writing process. What
yeah.
about you, Heidi?
I'd say I'm with you on the planning. I probably spend too much time in planning and psych myself out a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's too complicated. Like, that's usually where I get stuck if I don't push past the planning phase and just start writing something, anything, a chapter, a random scene. So the
Mhm.
times that I've done well, I've set aside some of the planning, but otherwise I'm like an extreme outliner, like blow by blow. This is what we're gonna do next, and this will lead to these three things, and then, oops, what about this like side plot here? How is it gonna like weave in this person's story with this person's? And then I'll get stuck in the extreme planning phase because it needs to look perfect. So the last couple NaNoWriMos that I did, I just decided we are not planning. There will be no plans. The characters will go where they want. They'll do what they want. They'll name themselves by their actions. It will take care of itself.
Yeah. Oh, comments. Now to make popcorn. Yes.
Yeah.
This is by no means common. Case is by no means common in which an author is at all in a condition to retrace their steps by which their conclusions were attained. In general, suggestions having arisen pell-mell are pursued and forgotten in a similar manner.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. There does have to be a level of planning if you want to hold yourself accountable to finish.
Yeah. Still trying to figure out my writing process for short stories and flash fictions. I'm a total pantser. Yeah, I feel like for inspiration, I do better when I'm pantsing. But once I get past that level of motivation to write the things that I'm inspired to write, to actually turn it into a story, I have to sit down and be like, okay, now how can I like force this into the shape of a actual good story?
Yeah.
And then you kind of have to do some shaping. For novels, I've tried plot embryos. I've read about that, bullet point outlines, tarot, and more. I am fond of the save the cat method. If you've ever read about that, it's just sort of a plot structure. Um, it breaks your story down into different acts. And then it sort of just outlines the sort of like the rising and falling action, the climax, and all of that. But it breaks it into smaller chunks. I've seen there's like a 3-act structure, which is similar but slightly different. There's a few other plot structures that I've read about but haven't given a try to yet. Writing should never be left up to intuition or randomness personally. Yeah, it kind of depends on the person and stuff. I feel like some of my best writing is when I'm just letting my characters do what they want to do. Because the more you try to control them, the more scripted it feels and the less believable it is. I do think that going back through and not just leaving everything random, cleaning it up and making sure that everything, flows and makes sense is important, but hate plug and play formulas. Yeah, I like to follow it, but with the caveat that I can change things if I want to because I'm the boss. Kind of like how I cook. I look at a recipe and I say, well, I don't want to, so I'm going to do it my way. But I use the recipe just for vibes.
I loosely follow the save the cat method, but not so far as like every little piece of it. Like I decide what I want my main points to be. Like I structure in a similar way, but I decide what those points are going to be. I usually base them around an event that's specific to my story rather than like, oh, is this like rising action or is this like, I'll kind of decide how I want it to go and then write inside there. And then if it goes in a new direction, I reevaluate at that point.
Romancing the Beat. That's one that I've also read about, but I haven't really, given that a try yet. Usually I don't write like, I guess, true romance, but my books always have an element of romance in them. So I've always been curious about looking more into Romancing the Beat and seeing what I can take from that.
I might have to check that one out because I get really stuck on romance writing. Maybe I just need to explore a different genre of romance writing within the genre. Like I have played with the enemies to lovers structure a little while, and it just figured out it doesn't work for me. I cannot find it within myself for people to be enemies for so long, and it's just something I need to improve. And so I played with different things like okay, friends to lovers, and I just have a hard time with that one too. It's just like it's hard to write people slowly falling in love long enough for it to happen over the course of a book. It's more of like, oh yes, we belong together. The end. Wait, the story is like
Like, wait a minute. Yeah, I kind of have the same problem. I generally have to really find ways for misunderstandings or for something to go wrong or somebody to say something stupid and hurt somebody's feelings or whatever, or throw in some big life event that distracts them, or let's see. I'm pulled more towards Eastern storytelling. I'm not gonna even attempt that. Introduce the characters and the world, inciting incident, rising action, twist, and resolution. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty standard frame. I feel like my struggle with outlining and with kind of piecing a plot together is I need smaller steps to be able to kind of shape my scenes. So that seems it's very like vague in general, which is like on the surface what I'm going for. I want it to look like effortless and like, oh, here's this and it's rising action and the twist and the resolution. But I have to figure out that's why I like the save the cat method, because it's got, I can't remember them all right now, but you've got going into the rising action and the climax, you've got like the dark night of the soul and like right before, so there's all those little mini beats kind of leading up to each part. I do not have any published work yet. I have a few pieces. My current project is probably going to be the next to be published, but it's just going to be a self-published, like religious devotional that I kind of have thrown together over the course of a couple months. But it's not really going to be a good example of my usual writing. And I also have a children's book that I wrote and am currently querying agents to try to get traditionally published, but that could take a while. So there's nothing currently available to read, unfortunately. And that's partially due to my ADHD and inability to ever complete a project. But hey, I should be medicated soon, so maybe then I'll actually be able to get things done. But Heidi is a different story.
well, and it's one that I have mixed feelings about. So I have self-published several children's books. The majority of them were co-authored with my sister, but I do have one standalone that I self-published when I was 18. So I was very new to the world of writing and publishing, and I did try querying a publishing company through a traditional method, and it got sent back. I made some pretty heavy revisions and then went ahead and just self-published because the process was taking so long. And In some ways, I'm glad that I did that. It was good for me as a writer. It got my feet wet in the writing world. But now going back and reading the book, I'm like, oh yeah, I could have improved this. I could have improved that. Like it feels like I've done better work since I've improved in my writing craft. But since writing these children's books with my sister and on my own, I've done a lot more, I'd say, nonfiction writing in the like short article form. So I'm a regular writer for my church online, blogging and writing articles that have shown up in some print publications, but it's not the type of style of stuff that I write for fun in my free time, like completely different
Yeah.
genre. So it's more like
Informational reading rather
yeah,
than for fun reading.
informational. Some of it's inspirational, things that I've learned, things that I've observed about life. I have a blog where I've gone and recorded some of my bigger travels. Haven't captured all of them, but like one or two of my bigger trips, including the trip to Australia that I took a couple of years ago. So yeah, I recorded some of those moments. It was fun. Enjoyed the process, but I haven't been very consistent with maintaining my own blog. Like a few years will go by, and I'll be like, "Oh yes, I should do that again."
Like,
So
oh yeah, I have a blog.
that's right, I did make a blog once. But yeah, I've been working on several similar genre actually to what Amanda's working on with some fantasy young adult books. I'm not quite certain at this point whether they'll all end up being fantasy. One or two of them leaned a little bit more towards dystopian rather than actual fantasy genre. So I'm wondering if that's the direction I'm leaning. Maybe I should rewrite it as that. There's a lot of world building elements that brought that one to a halt, put it on pause temporarily. I just needed some time to think through it and really consider the world before I really get deep into writing again. If I recall correctly, I hit I hit a stopping point at some point because I was like, "Oh yes, there should be like this huge like political thing going down in this nation and that's why the nation's torn apart." I was like, "Yeah, but what? What do I know about politics?" You're not gonna write them, fake politics.
Yeah. I always have the hardest time with world building. It's funny because I'm always gravitated towards those types of books that the world building is really great. So, really good fantasy where you're reading about the world and you can see it and it's so realistic even though it's completely foreign. And I love reading that. Cannot do it to save my life. Cannot come up with those things. I'll come up with some ideas for like cultures and systems of like how they do things and customs and things, but trying to actually write the story and then set it in the world that has all of these customs and things, I can't figure it out. 38th story published in May. That is amazing. Need to start submitting again. Are these traditionally published? Because that is really impressive. If so, now knowing how annoying the traditional publishing
Yeah.
path is. Not that it's less impressive if you self-publish, because that's still a lot of work, but
Yeah. It's
to
a
have 38 long processes, not necessarily more difficult, but like the length of time it takes to get something
mhm.
queried and published.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It does seem interesting, yeah.
Any tips on finishing a novel when you have ADHD? I keep getting pulled back to my flash fictions and short stories, missed draft, so I can get the dopamine hit of writing the end so much faster. Unfortunately, oh, mid draft. Um, Unfortunately, that is not something I've figured out. I have one zero draft of a novel finished that I had written during NaNoWriMo, and the only reason I finished that was because I had it was, let's see. So obviously finished it in November, the 50,000 words, but I wasn't quite at the end of the story. And there were bits and pieces that were kind of um, written in sort of notation form just to get the words down on the page. That is part of my process is I'll write scenes out of order and then piece them together. And then when I'm not exactly sure how to write a transition scene, I'll just narrate what happens in the transition scene and then go back and write a scene around my narration. If that makes sense. It's like I'm filling in the gaps. But I had a friend coming in March of that year, or of the next year, I guess. So I had a limited amount of time because I was going to have her be the first person to read it. So I needed to have it fully finished by then. So that was the only time I needed external motivation. I had to set a deadline, and it had to be done by then, or else she wasn't going to get to read it. And I was so sick and tired of working on this story that I just needed somebody to read it and tell me I
Yeah.
wasn't crazy and it wasn't horrible. Which
Oh,
now I've looked back at it and it's pretty bad, but it's also a zero draft and it needs a lot of work. But yeah, I've never gone past that one zero draft. I've gotten a few other stories close to that point, but they always fall apart near the end because I just don't know how to pull it all together and I kind of lose the plot somehow. Stories are in magazines and anthologies I submitted to. Okay, I see.
all right.
Sometimes it takes 6 months to hear back from
Yeah.
publishers. Yeah. My current experience with that is trying to query for my children's book, which is difficult because you're looking at agents who specialize in children's picture books and who aren't specifically looking for a certain type of story, because like most of the people who are accepting children's books want their stories to be about minority groups, people of color, or different things like that, and like experiencing hardships or whatever. They want it to be like a learning book about that, which is not what my book is. My book is, it's a baby book about babies trying to get into mischief. So it's like that's really got nothing to do with what they're looking for. So it's really difficult to find the right agent. I found several that seemed really promising and have all sent rejections.
Oh,
So I'm still kind of thinking, I'm thinking maybe after I finally publish this devotional, um I might go back and spend some time sending some more queries out, and or I might have to consider an alternate plan, whether that's starting a Kickstarter and trying to self-publish that way, because with board books it's so much more expensive to self-publish because you really can't print on demand like you can like a paperback or a hardback. So it's kind of, I've got to decide between raising $4,000 and then not even making enough money to fund a second print run if my first one does well, or changing it to be a hardback cover, which is difficult when the target age range is like 1 year old,
yeah.
because they're going to destroy it.
Oh,
So, yeah, I've got some things to think about, but I'm pushing it off until this project is done. Also get dopamine from sharing snippets or having people read my work, but I'm going to not have anyone read my next novel until after draft 2. Yeah, that's always smart, because especially since you end up changing so many things between your first draft and like the final finished thing, that it's I struggle with that so much. I feel like I thrive on external validation. I need somebody to look at my story and be like, yes, it's good. What happens next? So to be like, yay, let me write the next part for you. But at the same time, as I'm writing it and I'm writing out of order and I'm like making little notes, and then I'm realizing how short my word count is because I'm usually writing during NaNoWriMo and I'm throwing things in to add to my word count. It starts to kind of fall apart. And then I realize I don't want anyone to look at this actually.
Oh,
So, yeah. Middle grade horror died in the query trenches. Yeah, it's rough. Called it a short story is much harder to accomplish correctly. A novel's easier to write than most prose pieces. I think it was 38,000 by draft 12. Wow. That was an R&R for an agent. R&R. Gonna have to enlighten me on that. Because my brain goes to rest and recuperation. Revise and resubmit. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, most of my partial drafts are in timeout so they can think about what they've done. I've got them all just marinating. I'll revisit them at some point, maybe. Once they've learned their lesson.
Yeah. I feel that. There's a couple that I've let marinate for so long that I'm like, maybe I could even combine these into one. So maybe.
Basically, yeah, that's kind of what I have to do is I have to because I get so attached to the story, but I write myself into a corner, don't know how to get out, and I'm so like blinded by what I expect the story to be that I can't like take a step back and look at it like objectively. So I got to let it sit for, 10 years or something. There's some of my stories have probably been sitting longer. And then come back and look at it and be like, okay, I know what are the good things about this story. I now am no longer blinded by my original vision, and I can steal these from myself and use them differently.
That's true.
So many partial drafts. Made a list and a slideshow with all the mood boards and playlists and such. Ah, yes.
I love that idea. Yeah.
See, what I really like to do is when I'm coming up with a story, I will obsessively listen to I don't know if you're familiar with like the Enneagram like personality test. There is an album by the artist Sleeping at Last called Enneagram.
Oh,
And he wrote a song for each type.
wow.
And so for each personality type has a different song associated with it. So what I will do is I will obsessively listen to that album from start to finish and think about what characters in my story might be which personality type, and I can like sort of resonate with them a lot better.
That's cool. Yeah.
It gets me more in the mind of the characters.
I used to take personality quizzes for my characters until I started answering them too much like myself. I was like, oh, okay.
Ah, yes.
Never mind.
Because obviously this is the right way to answer it.
There towards my own answers.
Yes.
And I'm afraid at this point personality tests are a little bit broken for me because I know how to hack them a little bit. I'm like, oh yes, this will get this result. And I
Right.
I want to be more of this, so this is how I can answer. Wait a minute. This isn't even working on it before.
tried journaling as one of your main characters to understand them more.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have always loved the idea of doing that. I used to like probably when I was in middle school is when I would do this because I that's kind of when I first started writing fiction was in middle school. I would make like a character sheet for each character and like talk about their likes and dislikes and kind of sketch out what I think they would look like and um basically try to do that for every character. But then I realized that I would spend way too long doing that and never actually get to writing the story. um I think the story that I wrote in middle school doesn't even mention like half the characters I designed because
Yeah.
I had in my head like, oh, this is going to be this huge series and like all these people are going to have like their own books and they're going to like show up in each other's stories over time and yeah, no. It did not happen. Also, I was such a lazy writer. Um I went back and read that like a couple years ago and there were so many scenes. It's like um this mid-grade kind of adventure fantasy story. The basic idea is that the main character travels to this different world when she's dreaming, and so she's trying to um somehow she has to like save this fantasy world and bring somebody from her life into, it's complicated story, but she has to somehow go to this other city to do this. She's in middle school. She can't just get up and leave on her own and like take a bus to this other city by herself. And so somehow in my head I was like, okay, we'll have to figure out how to make it so that it's uh like a field trip or something like that. And I'll get permission from the principal, and then I'll tell my mom that I'm staying over here at my friend's house, but then I'll tell the principal that I'm going on this field trip, which totally made no sense. And I could not figure out how to make it work logically. And so instead of coming up with a logical explanation that worked, I said, well, after all this time worrying and coming trying to figure out what she was going to say, she came up with something and told it to the principal, and he said, okay. So I just like didn't even say what the answer was. I was just like, and she did it, yay.
Oh, I'm just a little lazy writing in that way myself lately. I'm guilty of that as well. Was kind of done with like writing the same fan fiction for a while. I was like, okay, yeah, like I even though it's like not like a book something of mine that I is my own characters and everything, I still feel a need to complete them. Otherwise, I feel incomplete for a long time. It's like I need to finish this, or it's hanging over me. So I was like, oh, we'll finish up. I could not decide what was supposed to happen, so I was like, yeah, she hit her head and was asleep for that portion of the narrative. So she didn't know what happened. I know it's
Yeah.
like super, super lazy, but if probably anyone reading it can tell, yeah, I didn't want to write that. But I needed it,
Yeah.
and it worked.
Although, I mean, I feel like that's still okay, like zero draft writing, because you can go back through on your next run through and be like, okay, but like, why did she get knocked out? Write that into the story and like figure out how that works. And then, that's later problem to deal with.
Yeah, later problem. I like it. Yeah, I gave a minimal explanation. She was oh, let's see what really went down. She's basically arrested for interrupting um, a public sports tournament. She's giving some impassioned speech about how you could live a better life and got dragged away by the guards. So, yeah, and but they were like corrupt guards. This situation
Gotcha.
was very corrupt civilization, so it wasn't like a nice, polite, reasonable arrest. It was like throw you in the dungeon sort of arrest.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it worked.
Made family trees, a map of a solar system, commissioned character art, and more to try and help me develop my stories. They are still unfinished drafts. Yeah, that's the danger with all of that. One of my most complicated stories that I've worked on for a lot of years, it's called Earthborn. As sort of a working title. I may end up changing it because by the time I ever finish it, probably something else is going to have that name already, and I'll be stuck without a title. But it's meant to be like a mirror universe to ours, but like it's developed differently. So instead of the advances in technology, they've made advances in like their use of nature and stuff like that. And instead of the countries that we have currently, they they structured their, you know, cities and countries and everything around various like areas of oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like not supplies, resources. So like natural resources, like Niagara Falls is this huge base of operations because the waterfall is like a source of power for them and like all of these things. And so it's this whole idea that I had, and I have all these ideas about their culture and things that, you know, make them different from us. But when I try to think about the rest of the world building that needs to go into this, like what kind of houses do they live in? What sort of uh, society, you know, what does society look like? What do kids do? Like, is there schools or do like, and there's just so many things that there's no way I can plan all of it and ever be able to get to the writing part and trying to come up with these things. It's like, okay, well, what does the government system look like? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can start trying to make up a government system, but by the time I finish, I'm bored to tears. And also, uh, I've written something now that is going to reflect on the other things that I come up with. The first time I tried writing all of this world building stuff, I ended up with this crazy system where they all live in trees and do all the, and then I was like, but that's not what the story I envisioned is like. So I've ruined it. Now I have to go back and change it all. So, yeah, there's a lot to do with that one.
It sounds like some fun ideas, though. I like the concept behind it and where it could go.
One of my favorite things about the culture that I came up with is um so you know how culturally we will like take on the last name of the person that we marry.
Yeah.
And that's just, you get married, you change your last name and everything. Well, in this culture, they don't do that, but the person you marry will give you a new first name.
Ooh.
And it's usually based on like a name from their family's ancestral line. So they'll like take an important figure in their lineage and like change the name somehow to sort of represent this new this person, um by like shortening it or combining it with a different type of, you know, or they'll take like a name from both families and sort of combine them, but that's usually what they'll do for their children. So it's like names are a very important part of their culture.
That's so cool.
Um, let's see. Okay.
I like those very literal compound words. They're pretty neat.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Hello, investment in a main character, twist, bind, sum of all parts in 10.
It reminds me a lot of a Chinese show that I was watching recently. It was for some of my friends, when I showed it to them, were disillusioned with like how slow it was moving. But I think it is because of that um, Eastern structure with putting the introduction phase first before you really get into the action. You have to understand the world before you get into it. I liked it. I thought it was effective, but it does require a bit of investment to be like, all right, I'm not going to just like watch 2 episodes and give up. I'm going to watch like 6 episodes and then decide, or 12
Yeah.
decide. So
Yeah,
you have to be in it for the long haul.
for sure.
Thinking of like projects and stuff that I've worked on lately, I got stuck on one for world building reasons as well. It was kind of like I had mentioned with the politics of the nation, but I think it was also for lack of characters. I didn't add enough characters to it, so it wasn't complex. So if the main two characters could get along, yay, but then the story was also over. But you need to have a few more dynamics that different people add into it, like other potential love interest, so that there's someone to challenge them, or somebody that doesn't want them to be together, or
Yeah. Or like a big flaw one of them has that they need to overcome, or both of them. Like in the case of Pride and Prejudice.
Yes. I think the issue was I just made their dystopian government be the main opposing force, and once they got the government out of the way by moving to another place, the story was over. I was like, huh, that's kind of lame, because they still haven't sorted out their issues as people. So to go back and rewrite that, where they learn things about themselves on the journey, on their escape journey.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they each disagree with the corrupt government for different reasons, and that comes out and adds some fire.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is 11:30.
It is getting kind of late. Yeah. Brain
And I
is
should,
slowly melting.
yeah, same. I should definitely get to bed here and wrap things up. But I'm so glad we had so many people join us today. It's been some fun conversation. Western structure also has a beginning phase or an exposition. Yeah.
The difference might be in the length, perhaps, of how long that takes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
It makes it much less awkward. Last week, did we even have?
I don't know if we did. We were productive.
Like we might have for like a minute or two, but yeah, we were productive all by ourselves.
Yeah, we're productive. There's some extra fuel to the productivity when you know there's other people watching and
yeah,
holding you accountable.
It also makes the breaks more fun because when there's nobody in the chat, you're tempted to just like, okay, well, you want to do another sprint or something? I don't know. Because we run out of stuff to say.
What? Us? Run out of stuff to say? It's not like we're writers or anything.
All right. Well, thank you for all for joining. I should be back next Monday. Let me look at my calendar to make sure I'm not being a liar here.
Oh, yeah. It's very likely I'll be back, although I'll also be returning from a trip. So, in the off chance I'm really tired from that, I might have to call it, but should probably be good. But yeah, I'll touch base sooner.
I should be able to stream. Because, yeah, we'll be coming home from a Father's Day trip on Sunday, but Monday should be free. So I will try to do a better job at actually like scheduling it and announcing it places and stuff like that. If anyone still has things to get done tonight, let me look at our AuthorTube schedule. Need to refresh this because I have not looked at it in a week and it is very behind. Chances are nobody else is streaming, but you can take a look for yourself. There is the AuthorTuber spreadsheet list that has a daily list of everyone who is streaming and at what times. I stream every Monday unless some unforeseen thing or I guess a planned event prevents me. So we'll see you all next week.
We'll see you then.
And goodbye.
Bye.